Recently, radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh boldly and with crystal clarity summed up the position of the Republican Party in terms of being a viable political force, saying the party is up against formidable odds. The Democrats control the media, the political power alleys, the conversation, and basically the direction of the country. Also, and most disheartening, is that the party lacks powerful leadership and is too fragmented to mount any respectable campaign for higher offices, including the White House, in 2016. I, as a conservative Republican, fully agree with Rush and fully understand his logical deduction. Something must be done. Now, personally, I believe that Rush is not only locating and defining the party as a whole, but also putting out a call for leaders to come forward and to help resolve these issues, to lead like never before, to bring forward plans and actions to unite the party, because lip service and media grandstanding is no longer acceptable. There must be an effective plan of action put into place, and it must be implemented. Currently, it's as if we are the Union in 1863 and the Democratic Party is in the position of the Southern states, determined to eliminate us as a whole. Now, we have greater resources and should be winning with very little effort, but that's not the case. The Democratic Party that we have up against us, that we've mercilessly underestimated, has outgeneraled us on just about every level. And our leadership has stuck to the old ways of warfare, and we are being massacred out there. No one has the vision to change our tactics and turn this conflict around. Now, Ulysses S. Grant, who became the Union's commanding general, was good. He was good. He was a good general, but not as good as Robert E. Lee. The difference between Grant and all of his predecessors is that Grant kept fighting. He did not stop to rest and lick his wounds after a battle, even when he lost. Earlier generals stopped, held meetings to assess the position, regrouped, sought out intelligence reports, and after a great deal of time, moved into the next battle. This lag in time and poor leadership allowed Lee and Jackson and others to escape and outflank the Northern armies time after time after time. Meanwhile, fast attacks by generals like Mosley and his raiders constantly harassed the Union's rear and disrupted communications, supply lines, and so forth. Even when subordinates brought this valuable information to their superiors' attention, the lead generals chose to stick to the old way of doing things, much like the GOP leadership today, falsely believing that their tactics would somehow work when the battles screamed to the contrary. Grant changed all of that. Now, Grant was fearless. And as President Lincoln said, this man fights. I can't get rid of him. Grant did not sit back and regroup after a battle. He got up and kept fighting. When he got knocked down, he got back up. He was focused, determined, and relentless. He kept moving on Lee's left flank, moving on his left flank, even when Lee gave him black eyes. He didn't stop. And Lee realized that after a while, this man is not like the others. At this rate, he's going to wear me down and destroy my army. And so it was. Lee could not afford losses on that scale. And eventually he threw up his hands to the no-name, unknown general who finished at the bottom of his class. Sometimes, completely and against all logic, you have to change your tactics to ensure victory. When all logical avenues have been exhausted, then the illogical, however improbable, is the answer. In other words, it's time. It is time for the unknowns. Now, using the same leaders with the same tactics and expecting a different outcome is simply madness. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked, and believe it or not, will not work. Sean Hannity recognized that there are great people within the Republican Party. There are individuals who have great leadership abilities, but they do it individually, not as a unit. And the party itself has no direction and no leadership. What we need as a party, and we'll outline a plan here, is a well-executed operation that includes cooperation, information, inspiration, dedication, and a strong desire to see victory. The plan must include the entire party, and that's what I'm here for. The entire party, not any individual. Division is not our friend. No one can be or should be discarded, no idea dismissed, no effort pushed aside. It has to be new, it has to be fresh, and it has to be allowed to work. Having high-powered dinners and luncheons where intellectuals sit around and intellectualize the solutions facing the party and the nation will only produce what it has always produced up to this point: nothing, failure, separation, division, and simply handing over elections to the Democrats, who are well organized. Now, with all that said, and at the risk of being laughed at by my party and scrutinized by the public at large, allow me to propose to my party, the Republican Party, the GOP, what I believe will be unifying and powerful, a proposal to bring the party together as a whole and win elections in the future. One that will reach out to minorities, because I am one, If you want to know how to reach out to minorities, ask a minority. And to bring them into the party in a permanent way, a proposal that I'll call, for the sake of organization, Operation Bearcat. Okay, is it perfect? No, it's not. Is it doable? Yes. Is it effective? Absolutely. Should we as a party do it? You better believe it without hesitation, or we are going down. Now, as a party, our greatest treasure is our core beliefs. And believe it or not, a lot of people in this party have no idea what those core beliefs are. That's why we're not effective. These principles that make us conservatives, Republicans, winners, these beliefs are, and I'm going to give them to you, they are lower taxes, smaller government, a strong military, the push for open and free enterprise in this country, and above all, adherence to the Constitution of the United States. Now, all of this includes, the right to bear arms, physical responsibility, a belief in life and family values, yes. But our core beliefs, which everyone in this party should be behind, needs to be known by every member of the party and everyone outside the party. When I turned 18 and could vote, I could not tell you what the core beliefs of the Republican Party were. And to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you what the core beliefs of any party was. Democratic Party, Libertarian Party, Communist Party, anything. I didn't know. I knew they existed. I knew there was a Republican Party. I knew there was a Democratic Party. My God, I used to be a Democrat way back when, much like Ronald Reagan, and I was an effective one too. Man, I could turn out some votes and register some people that you just didn't think would ever vote. That's what I did. Because I believe then, as I believe now, in action. Talk is great, talk is good, action is better. Well, that is why we don't have informed voters today. They simply don't know the beliefs. I simply, like most people in this country, followed everybody that was around me. The family said we're going to vote this way. Okay, that's what it is. If they went left, I went left. If they went right, I went right. Now, with this in mind, we come to the first goal in this plan, in this operation. And that goal is informing the public about our core beliefs, what we stand for, and who we are. When people understand who we are and what we stand for, then the barriers of stereotypes and false accusations will crumble. For us to assume that people will, of their own accord, seek out the core beliefs of a party, a political party, any political party, and become informed on their own is irresponsible. They won't do it. They will follow the crowd to the slaughter if necessary. I know of people in my old neighborhoods where I grew up, in the inner cities of Los Angeles. And I'm not talking about some small inner city, not that they're any richer than where I grew up, but I'm talking about hardcore Los Angeles, LA, Watts area, where I grew up. They have no idea about being informed. But since everybody's going left, they go left. What they do understand, and what every person on this planet understands, is money. And that's where we need to begin. That's where we need to start. Sometimes we become too educated for our own good. Now, the manner in which we inform the public, the manner in which we do this is just as important as the information itself. The method must be quick, it must be encompassing, and it must be personal. And it must also be cost effective. This should be by a slightly oversized postcard, leading with the headlines, not "This is the Republican Party," because they'll throw it away. Leading with the headlines, "Lower taxes." They will at least read it. Everybody wants to save money. Now, the recipient would receive the card in the mail, and they would go through it within 30 seconds, so it has to be short. It has to be to the point, not to endorse any individual. It's not there to endorse candidate A or candidate B. We don't want their pictures on there. We're not there to endorse anyone. We are there to inform them of our party. And the number one thing is lower taxes, smaller government. This could be done with bullet points. You don't have much time. The person would then read it within 30 seconds. Now, will they throw it away? Probably. But not until they have read it, and at a minimum, walk away with "Republicans equal lower taxes." And that's what we want. Republicans equal lower taxes. If they read and take two things away, Republicans equal smaller government. Republicans equal family values. Then radio and television in that order. In that order. Radio, then television would report, maybe 1-minute reports, doesn't have to be anything big, on the mailers in a simple message. 20,000 mailers went out to X city of Chicago yesterday. You're telling them the Republican Party and their core beliefs. That's it. Again, not endorsing any individual, but an idea. Naturally, those states and those counties which are borderline, which fluctuate between elections. Sometimes they go Democrat, sometimes they go Republicans, and we don't really know. Those swing states, as it were, will be the states, the counties, the districts in which we concentrate on, because those are the voters that we want to impress and get over to our party. Now, the second part of the operation involves more of a face-to-face follow-up on the mailers. Radio and television blitz. Not door-to-door. That's too time-consuming and can cut into the morale of those knocking on doors. I've done it before. I was effective when I did it. I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of people I was able to at that time bring over to, I was working for the Democratic Party at that time, over to the party and register them as voters. But it can be demoralizing, and when people slam doors in your face, and it's very time consuming because people start asking questions, and that's not what you want. No, no, that's what I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about having face to faces on community levels. Sometimes we call them, in a roundabout way, uh, sort of town hall meetings, but with a different twist. And understand what I'm saying here. A group of 3 volunteers or individuals are assigned a community. Let's say St. Louis, Lower St. Louis. They're assigned a community, and their job is to educate. Again, not endorsing anyone. And in this area, a community center or a high school gym or a church, whenever that's permissible, or some place where where a group of people can meet. An event is held with these 3 individuals in charge, and you pass out free punch and cookies or something of that nature on a Saturday afternoon, and a speaker comes up and makes a speech basically on the core beliefs of the party, not endorsing anyone, and the direction of the party, what we want to do, what we want to do for them. The 3 volunteers then will, go ahead and pass out additional information and assist in registering voters to the Republican Party. They will secure emails whenever possible, not pushing, and giving out, social information such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, things of that nature. And where the event attendees can keep up on the party's progress and have access to its leaders. This will create a huge sense of belonging. Mama in St. Louis knows, hey, I can get on that Facebook thing and say, I don't like this and I don't like that, and somebody is going to write me back. Probably one of the 3 individuals overseeing that particular area. Someone's going to get back to me. I feel that I'm being heard. Because frankly, people, I tell you a truth. As far as the Republican Party goes, when I grew up, I felt that they didn't hear me. I felt that they didn't like black people. I felt that they didn't care. I felt that there were a bunch of rich, snobby-nosed people that wouldn't listen to me if I sat on their front porch. And we need to change all of that. We need to be smart. Now, after the event, the 3 volunteers become the community's connection to the party. Whenever possible, and sometimes it won't be possible, but whenever possible, we have a celebrity. It could be a local celebrity or a personality, a radio personality in that area, to come in and speak, have a word, visit some people, let them know that they're connected. It is awesome after you receive a mailer, hear something on the radio, go to an event, and then later on see the local radio personality show up at your door and say, I just wanted to say hi, we're from the party, thank you for coming out. Oh my goodness! The results are magnanimous. Once again, we're not endorsing anyone. Those areas where the party needs influence are where we're going to be going. If for strongholds, we have to keep in contact with them mainly through social media, mailers, the radio. We don't need to concentrate a large effort with 3 people giving out written community centers or churches in strong areas such as Oklahoma. We have those. We need people like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, California. We target communities with the people that are citizens of that area. And this is what I mean. And I tell you a truth that you really need to understand. As an African American, it would have been useless to have a Republican, and I remember how we were thinking, bunch of rich snobby people, to have a Republican who is non-African American to come in there and try to say, well, we want you to join our party. What would run through our minds are, what do they want? What are they after? What are they trying to take from me? What is this? What's going on here? That's what they would do. No, 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 no. We don't need that. If it's an African American area, you send in an African American team. My God, Condoleezza Rice shows up in Los Angeles, St. Louis, or some area in San Diego or San Francisco. Oh my goodness. You talk about response. They would listen to her. Why? Because of what she's done. We know who she is. But the disconnect would be, and this is what we believed, that we weren't worthy for Condoleezza Rice to come down to see us. They weren't that important. But the Democratic Party was very smart. They would send people. And that's how they got our vote. We know as Republicans that African Americans voted 99% Republican after the Civil War, and all the way up to FDR. FDR did not get the black vote when he was running against Hoover. Hoover did. We know that. We know what political affiliation Martin Luther King had. Of course, he changed later, but we're aware of that. But we simply didn't think that we were worthy enough to have those kind of people come down. If you would look at the footage, and if you were some research, I personally remember Ronald Reagan coming in, and one of the ladies to my left said, "We know you don't like black people. What are you going to do for us?" And he stopped. He was campaigning at the time and shaking hands. He stopped in the crowd, and I believe there's footage of this. He stopped in the crowd and he looked at her and he says, "That's not true. You get me in the office and I will make sure that you feel my presence." That may not be the exact quote, but that's what he did. And that personal stop was like, oh my God, we started to believe him, even though he was African American. And notice I've been using the word African American more than black. There's a reason behind it. We need to do that. It is very empowering if you're going to come into the neighborhood and try to get people to go to your party. Okay. Now, targeting these communities with people of that particular ethnicity, not sending Asian Americans into a Hispanic area, won't work. You may send an African American into a Hispanic area. That's cool. Vice versa. That's cool. Because we all kind of grew up together and we kind of know he's just as poor as I am. And he knows the deal here. And that's what we need to do. If we have a shortage of African Americans, or if we have a shortage of Hispanic Americans, if we have a shortage of any other minority group, then the ones that we have simply have to work overtime. And we got to get behind them to make sure that they have all the resources they need to keep going. Finally, you must have a national cohesiveness. And this must be done in order to legitimize the groups and give the new party members, those who are signing up to vote, a sense of knowing that they are part of something big. National news and radio personalities, and we have them in our party, should periodically, on their broadcast, give out names, name new members, thank them, thank district and regional leaders, because you have the three groups, and so many groups are overseen by a district leader, and so many districts are overseen by regional representative. Name those peoples. Not only the leaders, but the members. Hi, this is radio talk show host so-and-so, and we just wanted to say hi to Beulah in Oakland. She came out to one of our meetings, and we just wanted to say, Beulah, thank you. We are looking out for you. You are on our names. We know you by name. Thank you for your children. I want to say hi to, LaShonda and Christy and so forth. And we're standing behind you. And you know what we're going to do. And if you need us, of course, go ahead and get a hold of Bert. Bert's your representative there. And thank you for joining the party. Boom, there you are. Go on with the program. You keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that. People sit down, and I know this to be true, will sit down and listen to the radio just to hear their names. They will join just to be a part of us, so that sometime when you call. And then at election time, oh my God, after these efforts have been done, after you have the personalities come out, after the questions have been answered, after you keep in constant contact with everyone, when the election comes around, you will see sweeping victories. The party will grow exponentially and become what it is always intended to be, a party of the people. After the election, after our candidates are in office, after we have secured the governorships of states, secured the White House, you start the whole process over again. You don't quit. Because the minute you quit, the minute you stop, the minute you break call connection, the people are going to feel used, and they will leave in droves. No, you keep in contact with them. You continue to say their names. You continue to reach out. And over time, they will be infused with the ideology that these people really care. And they'll sit in their paychecks because their taxes will go down. The economy will pick up. Jobs in their area will pick up. Corporations will move in because you're going to get a corporate tax cut going here. And when the corporations move in, you start seeing them come out of their poverty. Their areas will start looking better. The ghettos will start disappearing. Paint jobs, homes will start being better. And they will see the change. They'll want to do something. They won't be attached to social programs and trinkets which will keep them down. They'll want to work. Why? Because somebody, some party is saying, okay, with smaller government, you can go into business for yourself. We'll show you how to do it. You can open up Mama's Chicken Place. You can open up this engineering place, this architecture. You can do all that stuff. You can go back to school. You can do this. And as you do it, and as you open your business, your corporate, your taxes are cut, you start hiring people. And the people start coming out. A sense of pride is instilled in them. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot sit around once again and try to intellectualize this thing. We're going to simply talk ourselves out of it. It's simpler than that. Oh, well, I think that the national program should be this. I think the national program should be that. Well, what the inner city needs is this. Well, have you lived there? Have you grown up there? Have you heard? Have you been of the mindset? Have you been neglected? Have you been beaten? I have been. I've been beaten. I grew up in the poverty. I know what's going on there. I felt the neglect. I felt the detachment. And all of the facts in the world, even though they may be absolutely true, will not change the mindset of the people unless you go down there personally and do something about it. You have to do something about it. You have to be representative. You have to be inclusive. I think Chris Christie is a great man. Marco Rubio. I think we have fantastic leaders. Each of them well capable of being the president. Each of them well capable of leading the state. But if we're going to unify, we have to remove those names from the plan, from the operation, and get the party out there as opposed to the individual. Once the party is a part of the mindset, then we can go. Now, naturally, and I'll be absolutely honest with you, because I know that there are Democrats listening, and I know that there are Libertarians listening, and I know that there are other party members listening. I haven't given you the entire plan. That would be foolish. I've given you the outline, but there's great details that I haven't gone over, and I can't go over in this particular forum. I have to go over with my party leaders to give them an advantage. But we can no longer we can't continue in the way that we've been doing. Great dinners are fine. Great riches are fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But they don't reach the voters. They don't call the people to sign up. And we need to do that. Yes, this is a great effort. And the timing of it is of essence. No one is going to hand us anything. We must be aggressive. We must go out and get it. The future of the party depends on it. I am well aware, like many of you, of the meetings that have been taking place and what the Republican Party has come up with in terms of reaching out to minorities, reaching out, revamping, unifying the party. I will be honest with you. They're not going to work. And I say that with a lot of love. And I say that because I like this country. They're not going to work. They sound good. There's a lot of money coming across. But they're not going to work in terms of votes. So there you have it. The proposal. I hope you share this. I realize a lot of party members will not hear this. I realize that a lot of party leaderships may not hear this. They need to. It may die with only a few listeners, but it's there. The leadership is there if we want it. I changed parties back in the late 70s and early 80s because of one man. And everybody knows who he is. He became president. And he affected me in a way that no one else has since then. And I want everyone else to feel that effect. I'm Robert Eugene Emanuel. God bless you. And God bless America.